Hello guys, so I just thought I'd jump on and make a video. I'm currently in our new space, which is going to be called Health Nuts. This is the meditation room, and we've got a yoga studio next door, and we've got a juice bar and like a chill out zone downstairs. So yeah, I haven't been making many videos. I've just been busy in here getting things ready because we're hoping to open in July. But yeah, I thought I'd jump on and make a video. And I wanted to tell you about something that happened the other day downstairs when I was plastering. Yeah, we've always had the intention for this place to be a really sort of potent place of awakening consciousness, as well as helping people with mental health challenges, as well as helping people just get really healthy. We've called it Health Nuts because we're nuts about health of the body and health of the mind. But obviously the true health is finding happiness. And the true happiness, the only true happiness, is really an awakening of consciousness. It's the awakening of consciousness. It's awareness becoming aware of itself. It's this light of being waking up within your own consciousness, within your own mind. This light of being. Anyway, the other day, I invited a plasterer to come and sort out the ceiling, to replace the ceiling downstairs, and he said he would do it really cheap. And so I got him on board. I kind of knew him and we had a good connection, so he offered to do it me for a really good price. But when he got here, he hadn't slept all night, and he'd had like 8 energy drinks within the first hour, and was completely caught in so much negativity in the mind, like some really dark stuff. It felt really dark. And he's not going to see this video, so it doesn't matter really what I say. But we were on this tower downstairs, because the downstairs ceiling is really, really high. So I ordered this tower, and we were standing on top of the tower. And it's the first time I've ever like held plasterboards up. You've got to hold them up against the ceiling and line them up. And he was like, I was up there holding this plasterboard as well as I can with like a drill in one hand, getting ready to screw it in. And he's just yelling at me, shouting at me like, "You're a fucking idiot. Put it straight. What the fuck are you doing? All of this shit." And yeah, it kind of shocked my body a little bit. So I had to say, like, look, put the board down. Like, you need to stop being so aggressive towards me. And I was ready to kick him out. If he'd carried on being aggressive in that way, I would have kicked him out and paid him for the day, and ended the work. But he calmed down a little bit with the aggression at that point. But for the whole rest of the day, he was still like going in his mind, like constantly talking to me about all of these beliefs he had around all sorts of things. I won't even mention what it was, but like difficult things to hear, lots of negativity, lots of identification with strong beliefs, negative beliefs, which would be quite harmful to a lot of people to hear, actually. I won't say what it is, but anyway, in the afternoon, after we'd been working 8 till 3, we were downstairs, and he's just going on at me, and I had to say, like, look man, like, you need to stop being so fucking negative. I cannot bear this anymore. Like, please just stop talking so negatively. And then he went on again, and he just kept bringing it to me, like this negativity, just throwing it at me. And I'm like trying to plaster at the same time. And I was like, this is just not working. And then he said something. He was like, "Oh, you need to teach me to meditate then." So we're up on this tower, 6 foot in the air. And I said, yes, let's do it, like right now. Do you want to do it right now? And he was like, yeah, go on then, let's do it now. And so we're standing up, we put the drill down, we put the plasterboards down, and I'm like, you've got to look me in the eyes. And this is just a normal bloke, a plasterer. You wouldn't expect that he's into doing this, that he'd be open to doing this. But something in him was like, yes, let's try it. So I'm looking at him and I can feel all of these strong negative thought forms in his mind, and his body all tense and tight, and all of those energy drinks and coffees he'd been having just buzzing in this energy. And I just said, like, okay, look at me, and I'll do it now with you. This is the point of the story, is because I want to take you through this inquiry that I took him through. We'll do it twice. I'll do it now, explaining what happened with him, and then I'll do it again at the end. But I said this, I was like, okay, music blaring out the radio. I said, okay, so you're standing there, right? I said, there's a head here, there's thoughts here, there's a body here, there might be feelings in the body, but you are standing there. Ian is there, there's a sense of Ian right there. And he said, yes, there's a sense of Ian there. And I said, okay, there's thoughts moving through the head. Can you see them? And he's like, yes. There's a body here. Can you feel it? Yes. And then I said, okay, so as well as there being thoughts here, as well as there being a body here, as well as there being a sense of Ian here, there's also this one that knows it. There's also an awareness of it. I said, is that true? And he goes, yes. And I could see something in him like kind of, yes, there's an awareness here. And then I said, okay, so what does that feel like? What does that knowing feel like? And I felt something in his whole system just soften. And he said, it feels gentle. It's gentle. And this guy, for the whole day, he wasn't gentle. There was nothing gentle about it. He was talking about ripping people's eyeballs out. He was talking about shooting people, killing people, all of this stuff. And suddenly he's there and he feels something inside of him that's gentle. And so then I said, okay, so there's this gentleness here. Can you place your attention on that? And he said, yes. And he started feeling this gentleness, and I could feel something softening in him. And then I said, how far away from you is this gentleness? And he said, it's no distance from me. It's the same as me. And I was like, yes. So what you're saying is that this gentleness is what you are. And when I said that, something just dropped. And he just started crying. Like tears, he was hiding it from me, he didn't want to show me. But he started crying. And he's like, he was just blown away. And this was one of the most special moments of my life so far. It was so special. He's like, I've got to take a moment, and he climbed down the ladder. Obviously, he's conditioned. He doesn't want another man to see him crying. But he climbs down the ladder and goes, he's like, I need to go and cry. I need to go in the other room. And he went in the other room and was crying. And then he came out, and he was just, his mind was just blown. And he said, like, what is this? He said, my mind is just trying to make sense of it. It keeps trying to think of like what this is, like trying to make sense of it. And I just said, you cannot make sense of this, man. You cannot make sense of this. And the whole energy in the whole room shifted. It was completely full of negativity, and I was stressed about it. I was really, really not enjoying that day. But it all shifted in one moment. A simple, him just recognizing his true nature, recognizing that he wasn't those beliefs, that he wasn't those beliefs in his head, that he wasn't those thoughts in his head, recognizing that he was gentleness, that quality of gentleness, which is him recognizing his own being, he recognized himself as that, and all of that stuff just fell away. It was amazing. And he said, I've got goosebumps, and I had goosebumps all through my body. And he said, all the baggage is gone. And his mind went completely quiet. He couldn't even, we were trying to carry on with the plaster, and we were up there trying to drill things in. He couldn't do it. He kept like missing, and he's like, I can't do this. It was 3:00 and we had to call off for the day. Come back the next day. And he'd been chatting shit to me non-stop all day. And suddenly, where there was darkness, there was now light. The whole room shifted. And his mind went completely quiet. And I was asking him, like, what's it like inside? He's like, it's just so quiet. He was like, how long is this going to last? I'm like, forget about it, man. You just don't worry about that. Just enjoy it. Enjoy what you're feeling right now. Enjoy this quiet beingness. And I drove him 40 minutes to the train station. And in the car, we were both just completely quiet. And occasionally he'd ask a little question, and I would kind of give him a little bit of an answer. But it was one of the most magical experiences of my life, actually. This beautiful soul, this truly beautiful soul, who'd had a truly terrible life. He'd been abused as a child. He'd seen terrible things. And as a result, had come into a deep state of suffering and unconsciousness in the mind. But I could see, even with all that, I could see that he was a beautiful soul. And he was just, for whatever reason, absolutely ripe for us to be standing on top of that tower and for him to have this recognition. He was ripe for it. He just needed a little tiny pointing. And the gentleness that came in, the softness, the quiet, the sweetness was just so profound. Because when someone goes from like such heavy identification into that, it's incredible. And like not in a retreat setting, not going to see some spiritual teacher, we're up on a platform with the Doors blasting out of the radio. Probably 8 energy drinks and 3 coffees down for him. I didn't have any of that. I was stressed out my tits. And that happened. And I don't know, I think it might be something to do with this space. As soon as we came in here, we were like, this is the space. This is a space for transformation. This is a space for the awakening of consciousness. To bring more light into the world, to bring more and more light into the darkness, to transform the darkness into the light. That's what we want from this place. So yeah, I'm going to take you through the inquiry one more time, and I won't do it as if I'm remembering what happened with him. I'm just going to do it now for you if you're interested in that inquiry, and most of you watching this will already be quite clear in this recognition, but for some of you, you might find it helpful. So we'll do it again. Okay, so you're watching me on the screen. So there's a body there. There's a body. And there's a mind. And what I mean by that is there's a body and there is thinking. And there's also something else. There's also the knowing of that body and mind. There's the awareness of that body and mind. You know the body. You know the mind. Now that knowing is your being. That knowing is what you really are. So what I always like to ask people, because this is very clear, it's so simple and obvious, everybody watching this knows this. I'll do it again. There's the thinking. There's the body. There's you, the person, sitting here, listening to this. Body and thinking. And there's also the one that knows the body and the thinking. Now, what is that like? What does that feel like? What does that feel like? There's the body, the thinking, but then there's the knowing of the body and the thinking. There's the awareness of the body and the thinking. What does that feel like? The plasterer I was with last week said it felt like gentleness. Some people say it feels like peace. Some people simply say it's quiet. So what does it feel like to you? It could be any word that might come to you. And then I would say, okay, can you enjoy that quality? Can you rest your attention on that quality, be it gentleness, quiet, or peace? Can you enjoy being in that? Give your attention to that. Know yourself as that. Can you be a quality of being instead of being a person? Or let me say that again. Can you primarily know yourself as a quality of being instead of primarily knowing yourself as a person? And that quality of being is free. That quality of being is joy, peace, goodness. And the thing is, and this is what I was saying to the plasterer, I said, he said to me, actually, about an hour after this awakening had dropped in, and this lasted for him, for the 3 days after that I was with him, this lasted the whole time. He said it was getting a little bit less, and he didn't want to go into the inquiry again for some reason. I asked him, should we do it again? And he's like, nah. He wanted to see how long it lasted. I think he was thinking of it as like a drug experience. How long is it going to last? And he says he's going to ring me when he needs a top up. But it lasted the whole 3 days. It shifted. It was incredible. But anyway, what he said to me an hour after this experience was, he says, I could never kill anybody. If I did this every day, once a day, this exercise, which I took him through, if I did that once a day, I'd never be able to kill anybody. And he's a violent guy. He's a violent guy. And he was always talking about killing people, beating people, and ripping people's eyeballs out, all sorts of stuff. He has that in him. He said, I could never kill anybody from this place. He says, I could kill people. He said, I have it in me to kill. But he says, I could never kill anybody if I did this every day. Because our true nature, could never kill another, because it knows everybody as itself. It loves everybody. Yeah, he's a truly unique, beautiful soul, this guy. And I was thinking, like, why did I attract this darkness into this space? Like, why did I attract that? I was trying to sort of see, like, why has this happened? And then obviously that experience happened, and I was like, okay, that's the first transformation in this space. To the plasterer. I'm doing the ceiling downstairs. So I'm looking forward to seeing what unfolds after we open in July. And if you're in the UK, then you're welcome to come down and come to some workshops and stuff like that. Yeah, we haven't got anywhere for you to stay yet, but we might be getting a flat next door, turning it into a little bit of a retreat place where people can stay, but we haven't arranged that yet. That'll be later down the line. Yeah, so thank you for listening. I also want to let you know that I'm offering one-to-one sessions, and I'll drop a link below here. And the one-to-one sessions, we can either explore any questions you may have around awakening to being. I like to make this an experience, not just information for you to learn. I like these sessions to really hone in and to meet things. Sometimes we come into the body and we might find some core wounding, and we welcome it in, and we meet that, and we allow whatever is repressed within the body, within the nervous system, to come up into the light of awareness, and we meet it together. It's a meeting of presence, and it's a meeting of the heart. Or maybe we just open to whatever wants to open in the space. But yeah, we always have fun, and there's usually an opening of the heart and an opening of the mind to presence and to love and to laughter and to joy. All the good stuff. And if you're really struggling with something, then you're welcome to book a session as well. Like, lots of people on this channel are really going through some hard shit. If you're struggling, I'd love to meet with you and lend some support in whatever way that I can. And of course, we're supported by presence. We're supported by this beingness. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna intend to make more videos and share some more stories of the cool, crazy, wild, amazing things that happen in my life. And even though, to a lot of people, what I find wild, crazy, awesome, and amazing might seem quite boring, but my highest joy is in awakening, the awakening of consciousness, the awakening to deeper levels of light and beingness and goodness within ourselves. And so that's what I find exciting. That experience of that awakening experience with the plasterer downstairs. From the outside, a lot of people would think, oh, he just shared a few words and he cried and he was sad and in a dark place, and then he was happy. But to me, there was a deep meaning to that experience, a really powerful, profound meaning to that experience, because it is so meaningful. This is so meaningful. This is so meaningful. So meaningful. I think you get that when you've really suffered a lot, when you've really been through hell, when you've been in hell, then the light of beingness, the light of awareness, this awakening of consciousness becomes so meaningful, so valuable. And that's the value of having the light taken away. The dark night of the soul. When you go through a dark night of the soul, then you value that light. You really, really value that light. And because you value it, you nurture it. You nurture it with your heart. You nurture it with your attention, and it grows and it shines. Consciousness is waking up on this planet through us. And it is through the doorway of the challenges that we face in life, whether small or large.